Mr. President. I still have the floor.
Gusto ko po sanang ireklamo si Senator Pangilinan sa pagsigaw.
The Senate is under attack, was under attack.
Good afternoon. I'm Pinky Webb. This is BNC's special coverage, Senate Under Fire. Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, for now, can heave a sigh of relief after no one challenged his leadership in today's session. Senators Miguel Zubiri and J.V. Ejercito, who abstained during the May 11 Senate coup, maintained their position to be part of the minority bloc at this time. The Senate has convened as an impeachment court with the Senate President taking his oath before Senator Camille Villar as presiding officer, while other senators as judges in the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Let's get the reaction of protesters outside the Senate. Joan Manalo is there. Joan, what can you tell us?
Pinky, sa kabila nga nung malakas na pagbuhos ng ulan dito sa labas ng Senado ay patuloy pa rin nagsasagawa ng kilos protesta itong mga iba't ibang grupo dito, kabilang pa rin itong bagong alyansang Makabayan o Bayan. Ang sigaw nila dito sa labas, Sara, litisin, bato, panagutin dahil hindi na lamang daw itong issue ng impeachment yung kailangang sagutin ng Senado, kundi ito nga pagtakas ni Senator Bato de la Rosa mula sa Senado noong nakaraang Huwebes. Hanggang sa ngayon ay maririnig nyo mula dito sa labas itong mga pagtatambol at mga pagtatanghal din ng mga protesters na pinangungunahan nga ng bayan. At nandito rin kanina si Bayan Secretary General Mong Palatino na nagsalita dito sa crowd at sabi niya kanina na tuloy-tuloy nilang papanagutin si Vice President Sara Duterte sa mga impeachable offenses na nagawa nga niya, tulad na nga lang nitong maling paglustay ng confidential funds at pagbabanta sa iba't ibang mga opisyal ng gobyerno, kabilang na nga ang Pangulo. Ang sigaw niya kanina sa protesta ay handa silang magbantay sa Senado hanggang sa matapos ang impeachment at kasama nila ang komunidad at mga paaralan at mga pagawaan dahil ang aral daw nitong mga naganap nitong mga nakaraang araw dito sa Senado ay hindi na lang ito usapin ng korupsyon at tayong lahat ng mga Pilipino ay biktima dito. Kasama rin sa nakiisa dito sa kilos protesta ay mga biktima ng mga pamilya ng mga biktima ng EJK noong drug war ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Isa sa mga nakapanayam natin kanina ay si Nanette Castillo, isang nanay na namatayan ng anak noong drug war, at ang panawagan din niya ay dapat daw mapanagot si VP Sara dahil lumalabas daw na masyadong above the law na ang pagtingin ng bisi sa kanyang sarili dahil ayaw daw itong humarap sa Kongreso at sa kahit anong paglilitis. Kaya looking forward daw siya, kasama na rin ang iba't ibang mga ralista dito sa gaganaping impeachment trial ng Senado laban kay VP Sara. Bukod naman dito sa progressive groups ay sa kabilang dako din ng Senado ay meron ding nagprotesta kanina na mga supporters ng administrasyon at surprisingly ay ganun din ang panawagan nila na panagutin si VP Sara at imbestigahan na rin ang nangyaring kaguluhan dito sa Senado. At yan na muna ang pinakahuling balita mula dito sa labas ng Senado. Balik sa iyo, Pinky.
Maraming salamat, Joan Manalo. Nag-uulat ng live mula po dyan sa labas ng Senado. At alamin naman natin, yung mga House prosecutors, ang ating huling balita, ay naroon sila supposedly around the vicinity ng Senado. Nakapasok kaya sila o pumasok kaya sila sa loob ng Senado? Alamin natin mula kay Isaiah Mera Fuentes. Isaiah, go ahead.
Yes, Pinky, hanggang sa matapos ngang mag-convene ng Senado at matapos na rin niya ang nag-adjourn na ang sesyon ng Senado ngayong araw, ay hindi natin nakita dito ang buong prosecution team mula sa House of Representatives. Ang sinasabi nila sa atin ang dahilan raw ay hindi naman sila tinawag ngayong araw sa sesyon sa Senado. Tama ka, Pinky, sa sinabi mo kanina, nasa labas lang sila around the area dito ng Senate. Pero nagdesisyon na nga silang hindi pumasok dahil una sa lahat nga, Pinky, wala naman silang invitasyon na natanggap mula sa Senado. Nakausap natin ngayon lang din si Representative Joel Chua, na isa rin sa mga miyembro ng prosecution. Ang sinasabi niya sa ating, Pinky, ang dahilan daw kaya nagsumika pa rin silang magpunta dito sa Senado ay sakaling ang kailanganin ang kanilang presensya sa pag-convene ng impeachment court. Kabilang nga dyan ay kung sakaling kakailanganin nilang basahin ang nilalaman ng articles of impeachment. Ang sabi sa atin ni Representative Joel Chua, ayos lang naman sa kanila kung hindi sila kinailangan ngayong araw. Ang pinakamahalaga raw para sa kanila, Pinky, ay nakapag-convene ang Senado ngayong araw na to. Pero ang ginit din sa ating kanina ni Representative Terry Ridon na handang-handa sana silang humarap ngayong araw. Buong pwersa silang harap ang 11 prosecution team. Kaya nga lang ay wala silang invitation mula dito sa Senado. Pinky.
Maraming salamat, Isaiah Mirafuentes reporting. The NBI volunteer driver who tested positive for gunpowder after the shooting incident at the Senate has posted bail. Alamin natin ang latest mula kay Andrea Salve. Andrea?
Pinky, the NBI volunteer driver known as alias Mel Sta has been temporarily released after being arrested by authorities during the height of the shooting incident at the Senate last Wednesday, May 13. This came after he posted bail for violations of Republic Act 10591 or the Comprehensive Law on Firearms and Ammunition and direct assault. A total of 7 cases were filed against the suspect, including alarms and scandals, tumults and other disturbances of public order, resistance and disobedience to a person in authority, disturbance of proceedings, and trespass to property and violation of Senate security. According to the NCRPO, there were 7, but they were reduced to 2 as according to the information they obtained, all the other violations under the involved articles were already included under direct assault. They added that the Pasay City Court set bail at 80,000 pesos for the violation of RA 10591. Meanwhile, bail for the direct assault case was set at 36,000 pesos. Authorities earlier said that no firearm was recovered from Sta. However, he allegedly tested positive for gunpowder residue. We tried to get the side of the suspect earlier, but he declined to give an interview. Pinky.
Thanks so much, Andrea Salve there reporting to us. And now, joining us in the studio, former law dean, attorney Mel Santa Maria. Attorney, good to have you again. Okay, what's your reaction to what happened today?
Well, probably the lull before the storm. Kasi after watching what transpired last week, talagang very tumultuous, very confrontational, physical rin, psychological, physical, grabe na. It's siguro sabi ng mga senador ngayon, pagbigyan muna natin ang mga taong bayan, relax muna tayo.
Pagbigyan muna sambayan ng Pilipino dahil sa sobrang chaos.
Yes.
But also, naghanda din tayo, of course, dahil anything could have happened today. Of course, yung bali-balitang pwedeng magka-leadership change na naman.
Oo nga
at magiging shortest Senate President si Alan Peter Cayetano. That didn't happen. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel that there's too much complication sa paglipat, pagbalik, o pagbagong magtalaga ng bagong Senate leadership?
This is politics, no, Pinky? Siguro sa loob niya, nag-compromise sila sa loob, nagbabargainan, mayroong mga quid pro quo. These are the things that can happen inside, a room where politicians are involved, no? So, who knows? Who knows what will happen?
But I guess, Attorney Mel, bargaining should come, and it will come at a price. Now, that price, if it's too much, might be detrimental to whoever, kung yung kumupkop, yung kunwari po, magkalipatan.
Oo nga eh.
Ano po yung kapalit nun? And the Filipino people are intelligent enough to know that there would be possible side deals here.
Yes, correct.
And to whose advantage?
Alam mo, if you will look at the scenario now, no, yung the idea of change in leadership, ang tanong, Pinky, does it really matter in the case of impeachment to change the leadership if the Black 13 is intact? Yung Black 13, if they are intact from now to the end, focus sila, ang gusto lang nila, let's say, halimbawa, gusto lang nilang i-acquit si VP Sara Duterte, it will happen. Because if you have that majority, you not only control the verdict, you control the process. Kasi, basta halimbawa, sabi ng Senate President, I object. Tapos sabi ni Senate President, overruled. Sasabihin lang ng isang Black 13, Your Honor, may I put that to a vote? Majority vote. Then, bumaliktad na. So, they control the process. Kaya, yung sinasabi mong bargaining chip dyan, lipat dito, lipat dyan, lipat dito, talagang, that's important actually.
I guess, Attorney Mel, there would be that perception na kapag lumipat ka, ganun na rin siguro yung magiging direksyon mo sa pagboto in the end. Could be that.
Yes, because ano na yan parang ibig sabihin ko yung parang punto de caramela, lumipat ka, panagutan mo yan. Dahil kung hindi, baka lalong magkagulo, something like that, di ba? Talagang, we do not know now. No? We do not know now what will happen, except that, yun lang sa akin, if you make that Block 13 intact, whoever is the Senate President in relation to the impeachment trial probably will just be a nominal figure.
In other words, if the 13 is kept solid, the Vice President at the end of the day will be acquitted.
That is correct. Para lang sa aking perception, kung para sa Vice President sila. So dito nagtatalo yung tinatawag nating political Senate Court. And tayo, the Court of Public Opinion. Kaya ang gusto lang natin ngayon is for the evidence to be shown so that the Filipino people can likewise make their own judgment. And so that they could say that, hey, look, you acquitted Sara Duterte. You did not say she is innocent, you just protected her. Parang ganun lang mangyayari. Di ba? So
how important is it for you, even as you mentioned a while ago, that if the 13 is intact, how important is it for you to have, let's say, another Senate President or a change in leadership? Is it inconsequential for you?
Well, a Senate President who is persuasive enough, siguro pwede yan. Like, I believe Tito Soto can do it, no? He could persuade people. Pero a Senate President who has, for example, some record, for example, o meron ng tignan mo lang, meron ng polarization, baka mahirap yon. Pero kasi si Senator Tito Soto is a very amiable guy actually. Di ba? He could talk to these people, he could talk to that people. Wala siyang hindi siya nagdidig ng ng galit, ng vengeance. Okay, so be it. But let's do this thing, di ba? So probably if you get a Senate President like Tito Soto, probably a change can happen there. A change within the Block 13. Probably.
How about with a Senate President like SP Alan Peter Cayetano?
Because SP, he's a good guy. Well, kaya lang ang problema sa kanya, tignan mo lang siya, meron na talagang polarization ang mga tao. Ayan na, ano na ito. May mangyayari na. Parang ang presumption mo sa kanya, basta't nandiyan siya, okay, may mangyayari na to. Skeptical ka agad. Skeptical.
Why?
There are so many reasons for people to be skeptical. You know why? Okay, let's look at... this impeachment trial, the Senate as an institution is going into this impeachment trial with a credibility issue. Number one, okay, the Senate President, with all due respect to Peter, no? Kay Alan, estudyante ko yan, Vice President, katandem siya ni Duterte. That will play a significant factor. That's number one. Okay? Number two, alam naman natin, nagpalit. What transpired last week, si Bato, umamin siya, I just came there to vote, to change the leadership.
Kasi ako yung number 13, sabi po niya.
Siya ang number 13. Number 3, nakita natin, you and I and everybody else, nakita natin yung tribo mentality Yung tribe mentality, we will protect you at all costs kasi kasabi ka namin. And if you are the Filipino people, gosh, totoo pala yung double standard ang justice. Di ba? And accountability. Pumasok ang alagad ng batas, bumaril. Binaril mo mga pulis. Ibig sabihin, then you view accountability. Accountability is viewed as an attack. Di ba? It's an attack. And isa pa, the tradition, yung protective custody is weaponized. For people who allegedly committed crime against humanity, for it to be a sanctuary. So here you are, tayong mga tao, we are looking at it, man, this is all of the sickness of society we are now witnessing. May feudal mentality pa. Naisip ko lang. Dapat kumabit ka sa malakas. to be able to get some privilege.
You actually said a lot, no? But I
Diba?
want to go back to what you were talking about. Resolution number 44, balikan po natin yan, yung protective custody. I
Yes.
spoke to former Senate President Franklin Drilon, and he said
I saw that.
there's no law, there's no treaty. He even went to treaty that would be a legal basis for this protective custody. And yet, as a layman, no, pagbasahin mo po yung resolution number 44, parang sinasabi na a senator or any Filipino, parang gano'n na lumalabas dun sa resolution dahil merong kang warrant of arrest from an international court, ay kailangan to be able to exhaust all legal remedies. So dun po napunta si resolution number 44, which you mentioned was weaponized.
Yes, definitely. Look, at that precise moment, when the NBI was coming in, di ba? Sila yung mga tao. At that precise moment, anong nangyayari? Here you should take into consideration the powers of government. The legislature, alam mo naman natin, gumagawa sila ng batas o mag-i-impeach trial, di ba? At that point in time, wala na silang ginagawa. The same moment, ang NBI naman, executive department, they are supposed to implement the law. They have to arrest individuals who are to be arrested. So, sinong respeto ang mananaig? Dapat manaig yung tao na at that moment ginagawa niya ang trabaho niya. Ang legislature naman tahimik na eh. So ibig sabihin, if you are just conscious on the demarcation of the power balance here, then you would have already decided sila dito. They have the right here. So wala eh. Ang nangyari talagang naghabulan, di ba? May nadapa pa, tapos may nagsusuntok pa, tapos the next day, we were under attack. Talagang the tension build up. And then I just read the comment of the Solicitor General. Talagang straightforward eh. In effect, short of saying, alam niyo yung escape dyan, it was a design. It was a design of a broader strategy. He came in, not because of any other reason, but convenience. Highly political. And then nagkagulo. And then nawala. Di ba? So sabi niya, look, the orchestration seemed to be present.
Attorney Mel, so ang sinasabi niyo po, sa umpisa pa lang, when supposed to be, of course, investigation is still ongoing. When the NBI was saying that there were lady individuals, NBI personnel, who served the warrant, I guess by the parking lot, papasok po ng Senado, sinerve daw yung warrant at supposed to be hinawi at doon na nagkaroon ng takbuhan. Doon pa lang mali na. That's what you're saying.
Of course, Pinky.
Doon pa lang.
Yes, kasi at that point in time, dapat alam na ng mga tao doon kung sino ang gumagawa ng kanyang official function. Yung isa wala naman, senador. Nagtago nga siya eh. Isa nag-ano siya ng serve siya ng warrant, di ba? So yun, those are the...
But that's the thing, sir.
Yes.
If that's why I wanted to get there. Kung doon pa lang mali, sino may kasalanan?
Eh, siyempre, yung mga tao ng legislature. Sila mali. Klarong-klaro yun.
No, wouldn't it be Senator Bato de la Rosa?
Oh, of course. Siyempre.
Kasi kung pupunta po tayo kung papaano, kasi yun po ang pinakaumpisa ng lahat ng pangyayari eh.
You're right there. Dapat, as a senator, he should have known. He should have known. And as a former police officer, who probably, during the time when he was a police, was also serving warrants. No? Dapat nalaman niya yan.
Actually, I remember Ombudsman Boying Remulla saying that dating PNP chief tapos tinakbuhan ang arrest warrant laban sa kanya. Somebody who, should have basically respected the law, turned around and walked away, ran away from it.
Right.
Siguro more aptly.
Oh, alam mo nga, Pinky, when I'm trying to reflect on what happened last week, yung mababang kapulungan naman, parang there's something happening sa lower house naman. Nakikita natin yung 257 votes, no? Ibang-iba, na-juxtapose mo, nakukumpare mo silang dalawa. Yung lower house naman, 257 votes. Di ba? Parang ang tanong mo sarili mo ngayon, is there something happening there? Is the power of patronage slowly moving out in that body, di ba? Is the, let's say, is the political capital of VP Sara starting to collapse inside that chamber, di ba? Those are the things na tinitingnan natin ngayon eh. And because yung 257 vote reflected the 70% Filipino people wanting to see the Senate trial. Probably that's why tahimik ngayon.
All right. Attorney Mel, we just need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Siguro just a couple of last questions kay Dean. So, do you see, Attorney, any possible delays now that the impeachment court has been convened? Very quickly, yung po siguro motion before the Supreme Court, pwede bang gamitin yan as basis to say, let's not pursue this for now and wait for the decision of the Supreme Court pending the manifestation or motion from the defense?
Hindi naman
Pwede
dapat
yun.
gawin yon sapagkat unless you are ordered by the Supreme Court, dapat tuloy-tuloy ito.
Okay. And then, with the timeline that they mentioned, 10 days, non-extendable calendar days, writ of summons to be sent to the Vice President, 5 days to the prosecution, pre-trial, etc. Ano ho ang pwede nating maasahang day of the trial?
Siguro last week of June or first week of July dyan, but sabi sa kanilang Resolution 39, when they start, day after day after day, except Sunday, Saturday, and holiday of obligations, unless they change it.
And then, pagka ito na lang last question, kapag nagkaroon po ng change of leadership, will that somehow delay the process o magpapalitan lang ng panunumpa ng presiding officer, si Senate President as presiding officer?
Ganun lang, magpapalit lang ng panunumpa. The impeachment trial is a constant. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yan.
All right. Former Law Dean Attorney Mel Sta. Pleasure, sir, always. Thank you so much for your time. All right, stay tuned to Agenda coming your way at 6 p.m. Thank you for watching.